Well, hello there and welcome back to the channel. It's been a hot minute, actually 2 months since I last uploaded a video on this channel, and I wanted to share with you something that has been kind of happening and unfolding for me for the last few months, and it's really common when it comes to decluttering and minimalism. So this might be happening to you as well. Let's have a chat and let me share my best tips on how to navigate out of it as well. So if you're brand new to this channel, welcome. I'm glad to have you. My name is Emmy and I have been a minimalist for well over 15 years, long before the word minimalism became a buzzword and, you know, the whole messy to minimalist thing started here on the internet. But there's a lot of things that have happened during those 15 plus years of me practicing and living a very minimal and very intentional life. And I wanted to share some of those thoughts with you today because there are 3 really common patterns that I see happen when people get into minimalism and decluttering. And perhaps if this is the year, it's February 2025 as I film this, if this is a year where you were planning to get organized and structured and everything, you know, you will probably find this helpful. I also have a completely free online course that you can access through Skillshare. I will have all the details down there in the description below where you can access the course and get yourself organized and get yourself on track if that's something you want some help with. But without further ado, let's have a quick chat about these 3 really simple patterns that has happened to me, probably happened to you, and give you some tips on how to deal with them. So minimalism and simplicity really stems down to the very simple thing that we want to have only the inventory in our life that we need and that we use, and to have that gratitude to simplify what we spend our money, our time and our energy on managing. And what I see in terms of how this plays out is that many people will tackle a declutter challenge, whether you've inherited a bunch of stuff or whatever the reason is that you are needing to tackle a big amount of stuff and organizing and reducing your inventory. So the 3 things I see all the time is decluttering overwhelm, decluttering fatigue, and the decluttering blues. Number 3, the decluttering blues, is what is happening to me right now, and I'm going to share with you some strategies for each of these 3 things. The first one, decluttering overwhelm, is where it often starts for most people. So if you have a lot of inventory and you need to reduce it drastically, or it's driving you crazy, or you can't find stuff, or your family and your schedule doesn't work properly, and that's why you're needing to reduce your inventory, decluttering overwhelm is super common. The best strategy to do anything in life, I find, is to be focused and to have some steps to follow. Now, I do have a decluttering challenge on this channel, which I will link down there below for you. And it basically helps you tackle different areas of your home and your space and even smaller subcategories. So make sure to check that out down below if that is something that you're needing some help with. But decluttering overwhelm is super common, and it's basically when you're looking at all the spaces in your home and they're simultaneously stressing you out, driving you crazy, and you feel like it's unfathomable. Overwhelm is a really complicated state to be in for too long without getting philosophical, so it's something we want to get out of quickly. The best way to deal with declutter overwhelm is to follow a step-by-step process. And I guess the bonus tip there is to also be kind to yourself, because even identifying that this is something you need to get started on is an expression of self-love to yourself, to your family, and the people who share that space with you. Next up, number 2 is decluttering fatigue. And this often happens as you work your way through the process. So let's say that you have 10 really messy rooms in your house and you're getting to room 4 or 5 and you've got the momentum going and you're seeing how the positive impact is helping you and the people around you, but you're starting to get really tired. And this is really common again, even if you have a list or a challenge, or if you follow one of those, you know, getting rid of 1 item the first day, 2 items the second day, 3 items the third day, etc. There's lots of those challenges here on YouTube as well. But the problem is that in order to keep focused, we need to celebrate our wins. We need to rest sometimes. And often the reason we get fatigued is we're trying to cram in too much in too short of a time window, or we're not giving ourselves enough credit for the steps that we do finish. We also need to acknowledge when it comes to decluttering that there are some things that are easy, like maybe cleaning out your bathroom cabinet is a really quick one, whereas decluttering your garage, which I did in a video not long ago, again I'll link that down below and up here somewhere, decluttering a garage or a bigger space or a storage unit can take a long time because you have all this different stuff crammed into one space. So decluttering fatigue is a real thing, and if it's happening to you, it's not signaling to you to stop, but rather to slow down and restructure. And that brings me to number 3, which is where I've been at the last few months, which is the decluttering blues. And what I mean by that is I've been a minimalist for well over 15 years, long since before I started calling myself that. I just lived a very minimal life with very few items. I do my quarterly or so declutters. I will link a few of those videos down below. But a quarterly or 6-monthly decluttering practice helps you stay on top of your inventory. So when you've worked your way through the overwhelm and you've worked your way through the fatigue and you get to a space that's very minimal and manageable, and if you're like me and you love decluttering and cleaning, you might even be helping other people at that point to clean out their spaces and help them get their lives organized, or their spaces more organized rather. But it is a real thing and it is really hard. And when you get to that decluttering blue, so you're sitting at that plateau, it also, I find, stops you from looking at your space with fresh eyes. So let me tell you a little bit more about how this has been playing up for me and what I'm trying to do about it. I have often said on this channel that progress over perfection is a mantra to hold on to and remind yourself of. And I think that's why I've stalled at my plateau and sitting at that 95%. My home is perfectly functional. My husband and I know where things live, and every now and then I move things around and he gets confused as to where things live, but that's a separate story. Maybe I need to get better at showing him where those things are. By the way, let me know in the comments if this happens in your house too. But I'm noticing that I'm sitting there at my plateau and I've got a couple of spaces that are so close to working really well, but I just haven't had the energy to tackle them. I've been spending a lot of time on my meal planning and meal prepping channel over the last few months. I will link that channel below if you haven't checked that out yet. But for example, my pantry is just messy and it doesn't flow well. And whenever we do a big grocery haul, some of the things that we tend to bring in, not all the time, but sometimes doesn't have a place to go. But I haven't really had the energy or really felt like dealing with these things. And that's when I probably need to remind myself and you that progress over perfection is fine. And something that is 70, 80 or 90% functional is all good. But it can be a little bit frustrating when you are naturally an organized person and you're watching some of these places in your home and in your life clutter up a little bit, and it's just not very helpful. So regardless of which of those 3 stages you're at, decluttering overwhelm, decluttering fatigue, or that decluttering blues plateau that I'm currently hanging out on, what are some simple ways that we can look forward and move forward? First one, it's very simple, and it's to accept where you're at. I personally need to really acknowledge that at the moment. I'm not in a season of life where organizing and fine-tuning and finessing is a priority for me. I've been spending a lot of time on my other YouTube channel, and I've been spending a lot of time on my health and well-being. So sometimes, and maybe it's the same for you, we need to acknowledge that right now we don't have 100% focus or energy to put to this particular thing. So breaking it down into small chunks that are realistic for your situation right now is probably the way to go. The second thing to think about when you are dealing with any kind of clutter or mess is to be really mindful of your finances. Yes, you heard me. If you've been around on the channel for a while, you know that I'm big into budgeting and having a healthy relationship with your money, how it's flowing, how your cash flow is going, and especially now with the cost of living. It's early 2025 as I film this, and cost of living is certainly something to think about across the globe. If you don't have a healthy, clear relationship with your finance and where your money is going, it will probably muddle up your mind more than you realize and probably cause you as much grief, if not more, than your messy physical space. So if you need to take a little bit of a break from the decluttering to organize your finances, and I've got a whole video and some templates down below that you can download completely for free, I would recommend that you give yourself permission to do that. And last but not least is the very simple principle of gratitude. Being grateful for what we have and peeling back the layers of the onion, getting rid of the things that are unnecessary, whether that be physical objects in your home, certain relationships that are just not helpful, gradually peeling back to the core of what's important to you and being grateful for the things that you do have that are working well. I'm grateful every single day for my relationship with my husband, the home that we've built together, my gorgeous cheeky cat that keeps me awake at night sometimes. But having gratitude for the things that you do have and the things that work well is something that we sometimes take for granted, and I don't think we should. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I'm so excited to be back on this channel, and if you haven't already checked out and subscribed to my other meal planning channel, that will be linked down below. It's all designed with simple recipes, budget-friendly food, a lot of it's gluten-free, and basically just helping you organize your life and your week a little bit. So make sure to check that out if you haven't already. I would also love to know what you'd like to see on this channel going forward. I've done a lot of decluttering. I love decluttering, but obviously as per today's video, I've hit a bit of a plateau. So I'd love to hear any ideas from you on what you would like to see next here in the channel, where you might be struggling with your decluttering ventures. If 2025 is your year to get organized, let me help you with that. And in the meantime, please do go ahead and check out my online course down below, which you can access for free through Skillshare. It is a sponsored link to Skillshare, but it's completely free to join and try it out. So down there in the description, you'll find the link to my Get Organized, Organize Your Life course, if that is something that would help you kind of move forward from where you are now. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you, your comments, your likes, and your contributions to this channel, and I look forward to see you hopefully quite soon in the next video.